Okay.
Good morning. Welcome to Morning Moments. I have on our interview this morning another actor. I have several actors that's been on, Mark Bitner, and he's not only an actor, but his heart of loving people. And he's involved in a lot of other ministries, backlot ministries, and other things. And he'll share that with them. And it's been my delight here to bring to you, Mark. Welcome to Morning Moments.
Thank you, Annie. It's so blessed and humbled to be here. Thank you.
I ask the same question to everybody, so I'm going to start you off with this. What do you do, and why do you do it?
Wow, that's a good question. If I were to bear it down to everything, the number one thing I would say is that I'm a follower of Jesus, a lover of Jesus, and my heart's desire is to share that love with anybody and everybody I meet. I am also an actor. I've acted probably since I was a little kid till now. Mostly, I've done theater is my first love, but in 2002, the Lord prompted my heart through, of all things, a ride at Disney. You get on the ride, and some of the Disney rides, the precursor to the ride is better than the ride, and it said try something you've never done before, paint outside the lines, and I said, well, I've always wanted to act. So I came home and took some commercial acting classes and started doing commercials. And then through that, I got an agent, and then I started doing roles, small roles on television series and some movies and everything. I'll be honest with you, most everything I've done has made it to the editor's floor. I've not really had a lot of screen time. I did get to work on a TV pilot that didn't really go anywhere, but it was fun. It was called Revelation Blue. It was about a detective who used to be a pastor, and for whatever reason became a detective, and I was his nemesis. I was always on his case for being a rookie, and that was fun doing that. But so I've done acting, but my number one passion is people. Over the years, we've done ministry. We did homeless ministry in Philadelphia, PA. We did street ministry with another ministry in Camden, New Jersey. And then we were in the mountains of West Virginia for 3 years. We made a 1-year commitment. I've been there for 3, working with the poor. And while we were there, someone sent me an article with an interview with a pretty famous Hollywood star. And they knew I liked acting. They knew I had a heart for people in the industry. And the article, the guy, this is a paraphrase, but he basically said, I have this God-sized hole in the middle of my heart, and I appreciated somebody would show me how to fill it. And then he said, Hollywood is nothing but brokenhearted people and bottom feeders. And I said, that's my tribe. Those are the people that I love the most, the brokenhearted. So it was at that point that I decided that at some point we would try to minister to those in the industries. I mean, I did over the years on set. Whenever I was on set, I had the opportunity, I don't always like pound everybody over there with Jesus. I just be friends with them and hang out with them. And then some course they'll say, why are you so happy? Why do you? And that gives me the opportunity to bring Jesus into the conversation. So that's it in a nutshell for right now. I mean, and then in 2018, the Lord spoke to my heart and said, I want you to reach out to the entertainment. Actually, 2017 really is when it started happening. And I'm like, well, how do I do that? I mean, like, so I got connected with the Hollywood Prayer Network with Karen Cavell and her group, and they connected me with a young actor, and I started to mentor him. That young actor now, 8 years later, is one of my best friends, and I pray and encourage for him. I recently had an director, producer that I got connected with, and been praying for him. But also, I said, Lord, how am I going to reach? So I had one Facebook friend who's well connected in the industry. I just started reaching out to his friends and saying, hey, you don't know me, but I love to pray for those in the industry. Can I pray for you? And lo and behold, many of them wrote back. And many of them, so I would start praying for their production needs and those kind of things. I asked, how can I pray? What are your production needs for today? Or then as they realized they didn't have an angle, and my heart was not to get something from them, they would start sharing their hearts about. And I'm telling you, a lot of people in the industry have a lot of things that need prayer, and a lot of actors and actresses are pretty broken, even though they seem pretty good on the outside. So I would start praying for them and they would start giving me needs in the family. So that's where we're at right now. I was really blessed in 2017. One of the ones that I reached out to was Dallas Jenkins, the one who created, produced, directs the Chosen. And I just said, hey, and just started sending them little messengers. Hey, how can I pray for her? How can I pray for her? And at some point, I bridged the gap and I said, why don't you let me come on set? I've never done anything like that, ever. Never been on set with the sole intention of ministering. And I went and had no clue what I was doing. But the Holy Spirit directed it and guided it. And I got to be on the set of season 1 before it blew up and it is what it is now. And I got to minister to the cast and crew. I got to, God has given me a gift, a prophetic gift, got to speak prophetically into some of the hearts of some of the people. And that I'm still connected to this day, the dramatic impact. So that's where I'm at. And that's what I do. We love people. We also encourage and mentor a lot of young people. Matter of fact, most of our friend base is in their 20s and 30s. So that's a lot, but that's who we are.
Mark, something that you said that really comes to mind is that sometimes people are looking for that great outreach where I could go. And we read the scriptures that says, go into all the world and preach the gospel. And we think about, does that mean I have to go to Africa or China or so? Go into your world and look for the need. That's exactly where you start. And I love that you said you looked around the set and you said, here's where I'm at. How can I pray for you? And you all would be surprised in your world, wherever, it doesn't matter if you're a salesperson or an actor or singer or work at Walmart, doesn't matter. Look around and say, is there something I could pray for you about? And what the doors that'll open will be just amazing to you.
I agree with you. Our motto for our ministry, my wife and I, our ministry has always been to touch the one, whether we go to a major conference or whether we go to a small church. Like you said, I always say people, they're like, oh, I want to be a missionary in Africa. I said, how well do you know your neighbor? Yeah. I mean, you don't have to go and whop them over the head with Jesus. It's just like, just be their friend, just love them. And then from there go. So I agree with you. I just like, you don't have to have this massive ministry to be able to touch hearts.
And I tell people that 2/3 of God's name is go. So why are you staying? And it doesn't mean you have to go across the world. Go to your own cul-de-sac, go to your own neighborhood, go to your own break room at work. That's where
exactly. One thing you had mentioned, which I was really blessed by, is the way that you pray for people at the restaurant. You ask, you ask the question, is there anything more you need? So can I pray for you? And I just love that. I love the fact that, you touch the one and you can start a forest fire. And like you said, it's your neighbors. It's the girl in the supermarket. It's the checkout clerk. It's, one of the translations, if I'm not mistaken, that I read over the years, it says, as you were going, make disciples, not go. It's as you were going. That was one translation.
Yeah. And I love in Acts where it says, it doesn't say to witness. It says in Acts to be a witness. There's a big difference.
Exactly. And, you don't have to I have a tendency, you can see it says Jesus is life, the rest is just details. I have a tendency I consider this a ministry. Actually, I have a friend who helps me make these t-shirts, and God gives me these ideas. My hope is that to open conversations with people and open, spike through. I have one that's not so religious. It says Cash, Jack, and Jesus. And it stands for Johnny Cash, Jack Daniels, and Jesus. And it's a country western song. And that shirt has opened up more conversations and has afforded me more opportunities to pray for people than any religious shirt I've ever worn.
Down below in the comment section, depending on how you're going to see this, I'm going to give you some information about Mark, his ministry, where he's at, what he's been doing in films and television, and what has made it to production and actually been released. And you'll be able to see that. But more important than that, I want you to be praying for him. And I want you to also take this message today. And I think the main message today in this interview is to look for people. Just look. And when you said Philadelphia, and I've often told the story, I was in Philadelphia and I was walking down the streets of Philadelphia and I had a cup of coffee in my hand. Just was in the hotel I was at. third, fourth cup of coffee I had that day. And here was this guy huddled next to a big old the building fan trying to get some warm air. And I'm thinking, I got this cup of warm coffee in my hand. Why don't I just give it to him? And I handed that cup to him and he said, thank you for the coffee, but more important, thank you for recognizing me as a human being. And
Yes.
that's what people are looking for.
Yes.
They're just looking for you to reach out. And it doesn't
Yes.
matter if they're homeless or if they own a mansion, they're looking for somebody to connect with them. And you may be the only Jesus they see. So make
Absolutely.
an impact on the people around you.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just, like you were saying earlier, it's not to witness, it's to be a witness, to simply abide in Jesus. I was saying to you earlier that the one thing he's spoken to us, we can do nothing apart from him.
Amen.
We can do
Amen.
nothing. And if we stay in him, then we have Jesus in us and people will see it. And that's all we need.
Mark, thank you for joining us for Morning Moments. And
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This has been a real joy and I really appreciate it. I'm very humbled.
be sure to pray for Mark and keep coming back for some more Morning Moments, and God bless you.
Thank you.